Hi all, in today's session we will be looking at how to perform scenario testing at service layer. So when I say scenario testing, basically we'll be looking at how we can simulate user interactions at the service layer. And for today's session, we'll be focusing on REST APIs. So for which I will be choosing the sample uh, REST APIs from this particular URL. Let's create a REST project from this URL. So I'll be choosing get list users, and we copy this link, click on new REST project, paste it here, click on OK. Now let's add one more service to our project. So for which I'll be choosing this update. Okay, so click on this link, copy it. So right click on your project and choose new REST service from URI. Paste it here, click on OK. So now this the method has to be changed from get to put. Okay, so that is where see, if you look at the put method is expecting some body content, so which we'll be providing in our test suite. So let me close this. Now let's go ahead and create test suites for these services. So right click on the API and choose generate test suite. Click on OK. And we rename it as request response test suite. And let me rename this user test case as well. And let's simply keep it as users. We have one request here. So let me rename this to get users. Let us quickly execute this to see what the response looks like. So click on JSON, and here as you can see we are able to see get all the user list. Now let's go back and add one more test type. Right click on this put request and add it to test case. We want the test case to be added to this request response test suite under users, right? So click on OK. And for this, let me rename it as update users. Okay. So now let's quickly run this as well. Let me copy this body content. Let's go back to Soapui, paste it here, and click on this play button. So in your response, as you can see here, the name, job, and the latest updated timestamp, right? So we have successfully executed this particular test step. Now, in order to perform chaining, right? So let's take a simple scenario where I'm trying to extract the first name details from this user list, and I'm trying to pass it as an input here instead of Morpheus. Okay, so this can be achieved in two different ways. One using a simple property transfer file, and the other one would be using a Groovy script. So first, let's take a look at how we can perform using a simple property transfer. Okay, so for that, right click on your test step, add step, and choose property transfer. So I'll keep the name as is, click on OK. So let me drag this to the middle of get users and update users. So now what we have to do is go back to your get users, copy the entire response content. Okay, so Control C and go back to your browser and click and type in JSON Pathfinder. Okay, so once you are able to open the web content, paste here. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do is, let's say like I want to extract the first name from here. right? So I go to the section data, and as you're able to see, like I wanted the second JSON object, right? So I want to extract the first name from the second JSON object. So it would be here, and here it is, the first name. So just click on this, so it will give you the path. Okay, just copy this, go back to your Soapui in the property transfer. Let's expand this, add a new property transfer. So let me call it as user list. Okay, so from this is my source, right? So from get users response and choose this path language as JSON path. Okay, so I want to extract this particular data. So instead of x, replace x with dollar. And similarly for target, what we can do is we will be extracting this first name and we will be placing as an input to update users, right? So in property, choose request, and path language should be JSON path. Similarly, like what we have given here in the target, so on similar form, we will have to provide the path service list to name. Okay, so next path would be dollar dot data dot name. Let me just quickly reconfirm it. So no, I don't think so. Data is required. One sec. Let me change it to dollar dot name. Okay, so in order to evaluate whether the XPath which we have provided is correct, right? So just click on the play button. So as you can see, we are able to extract the response value and pass it as an input here, right? So that is where we will be able to see the value, transferred value. So we are good here. So now all we have to do is either you select the test step or the user test case. Okay, so just select any of this, or you can run at the test suite level. Okay, so let me just select the test step. Okay, and click on this play button. Okay, so we have successfully executed. If you look at the flow, first we have executed the get user request, and then the values have been extracted using the property transform method, and we have passed it as an input here. Okay, so let me just change this data. So instead of 1, let's say I want to extract from second element, right? So which is nothing but here, Tobias. Right, so let's just quickly execute this. So I've just executed it again, and let's go back to the update users response. So as you can see here, the name has been passed as Tobias. So this is one way of performing scenario testing. So now let's take a look at the second approach, which is nothing but using Groovy Script. So let me just clone this test suite, right click on the test suite and choose clone test suite. Okay, so let me rename this, call it as API chain using Groovy. So here the only difference is instead of property transfer, okay, let me just delete this. I'll be adding a property step. Here it is. Let me call it as my properties. Okay, so now since we are extracting the user information, right? So let me add a property here. So I'll give the name as user and the value I'll keep it as blank. Okay. So now the next step would be to add a Groovy script. So just like right click on your test step, go to add step and then choose Groovy script. Okay, click on OK. So let me drag this here right after my properties. Okay, so in order to uh, perform the second approach, right? I'm already written a Groovy script here. Let me just copy this. I'll explain you that in a while. So I'll paste it here. Okay, so let's take a look at the Groovy script. Basically, what this script does is, like, using JSON slapper class, we will be passing the JSON text or data content, which is nothing but our response content, into Groovy data structure objects like map, or list, or primitive types, including integer, uh, double, boolean, or string values. Okay, so that is where we are creating a new object of JSON slapper, and before that we would be extracting the response content by providing this command, uh, testrunner.testcase.gets test by name, which is nothing but get users, right? From get users we are trying to extract the response and storing it in a variable called response. And now here we are extracting the JSON text and converting it into a list or map of objects by using this pass text method. Okay, and that has been stored in response object variable. So now after that, what we are going to do is we are extracting the first name. So typically, if you look at data2 of first name, which is nothing but this value, right? Tobias first name, and then we are storing it in a variable called value. And now what we are doing is we are setting the user properties which we have created here, right? My properties, and the value is left blank. So in place of this value, we are setting the property value name as the name which we have extracted, which is nothing but the first name which we have extracted from our response content will be stored as a value here. Okay, so that's all. These are the two major changes, and the third thing is you need to go back to your update users in the request. What we'll have to do is instead of Tobias, right? So we'll have to give dollar a curly brace, give my properties as name. Okay, so let me just double click this and run the scenario. Okay, I got it. So here instead of user properties, right, it has to be my properties. Okay, let's go back and run this again. Okay, let's look at the response. So as you can see, the response has been updated as Tobias. Okay, so just to try it once again, so let's change the values. Right, so instead of 2 here, let me change it to 4. So which is nothing but I'm expecting this value. George. Okay, since now the value has been changed, so let me rerun it again. Click on this play button. And if you look at the flow, like first we have executed the get users, and then they followed by the script, wherein it is writing the extracted response content to your properties file. And from there, the data has been extracted and it is passed as an input to your update users. So it has been successfully executed, and let's take a look at the response once again. Here it is, George. So these are the two ways of performing scenario testing. That's all for today. So if you like my videos, feel free to share it with your friends, and also please like and subscribe. Thank you.